All right. Okay, we're now recording. All right. So I am going to. How have you been?
I've been good, actually. Things are
Yeah,
going pretty well.
that's
Yeah.
great. That's great. You certainly know a lot of songs.
Yeah,
I should.
I do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's really funny that you would. I do. I know a lot of songs. I listen to a lot of music,
Hmm.
and it's very helpful because a lot of songs are very different, and they all have
They
different
are.
messages that they bring.
They are so different. In fact, they're. I describe them as Excalibur because they. It's almost like you don't always have the right to sing it unless you have the right mindset to even begin.
Mhm.
And it brings you to different places. Um, in such a way. I'm just going to pull up all the lyrics so so I don't have to do that later.
Yeah, I have the
Um,
lyrics here too.
I don't quite know if these all made it to on the popularity list, but I like them and they seem to do different things um, with all their different challenges. Um, so let's see here. Have you performed them?
I have, through the eyes of love, I have
Hmm.
worked on.
Hmm.
Nothing's going to change my love for you. I've always loved. It's a beautiful song.
Hmm.
You Raise Me Up is definitely a song that I've listened. Josh
Hmm.
Groban is
Hmm.
my favorite singer who sings that song,
Right.
and
Right.
it's so he's such a great singer, and he sings it with such heart that it's one that I would prefer not to sing only because
Right.
it's so good, and I always hear him in my head.
Yes.
When you
Yes.
have a singer that's such a great performer or their message is
Hmm.
so strong,
Hmm.
it's very hard to sing that kind of a song. That's like
Right.
the staple of one of his one of his staple songs.
Yes. Yes. That's right. That's right. So, we'll meet again. Vera Lynn, 1938 was when this song was first sang. I mean, that's just exquisite, you know, it's just
Mhm.
exquisite. I'm gonna just get my table up so I can stand when I sing this.
Yeah, and I don't know. I heard that when I was a young child. Um,
Ah, right.
maybe my dad liked that song or whatever, but I've heard that song. I know the song, and the melody
Hmm.
is so beautiful.
Right.
Some
Right.
of these melodies that you tend to choose songs that are very melodic and have
Hmm.
a message of love, and inspiration,
Hmm.
and also of gratitude to people who you do love.
Hmm.
That's the what you I see you choosing
You've
songs.
you've noticed that? No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I find that you know, in the healing part of it, that getting that down is really important because music can be used in all kinds of forms, um, and um, and certainly I want to explore all these. I mean, I even thought about when you do them. I mean, because I'm focused on healing, I have to develop my own kind of style, and that's this journey with you. It's a very important journey on the style. So I'll start with this one. It goes like this: We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Yeah, so I only picked up on it last night, so it's like I don't quite have it all together yet, but it's it has special, like, it just agrees with me. I don't know why. What do you think?
I think it's a song that I want to sing with you.
Oh, oh, really?
It's
Wow.
very interesting. The first part, "We'll meet again. Don't you know where or when? But I know you meet again some sunny day." And then when you
Right,
will, so will you please say hello? And it's make me want to
right.
sing with you. It's one of those
Oh,
songs like that everybody
yeah.
wants to sort of chime in
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's very joyful.
Hmm.
I feel it's very spiritual too.
Yes, and that's the theme of today's kind of like recording, is that I picked some songs that had we end with the gospel stuff, but it's why do certain songs have this well, you grouped it, in this umbrella, it's inspirational, even though we have these different days that we'll meet again some say, and it talks about being timeless. This the minutes that just went by, we'll never get them back again, you
I
know.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, right, we don't. And to think that way, to love that way, to play the game of life that way,
Mm.
right? To think of it as a game as opposed to a battle is
Mhm.
important, because that changes everything that gets put together,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
and we'll meet
mm,
again. It could be
right,
here on the planet
right,
or here in with our ancestors who have
right.
passed.
That's right. In
It's
heaven.
very
Yeah,
timeless.
yeah,
That's
yes,
and I
yes.
feel people when they hear a song like that, they it does uplift them. It's
Mm,
an uplifting song in a very deep level, on a spiritual level, energetic
mm.
level that it just is. And whoever wrote it, who was the writer of that song?
I don't
Um,
know. It says
Arthur Young and
yeah, it
Vera
says Arthur
Lynn.
Young. I don't know if he wrote it. I didn't do a lot of research on the song, but I did watch where it came from, and then I saw that Johnny Cash sings it again later on in his own style, and then yeah, it's just a very carefree. And I even think about time travel,
Hmm.
which I
Yeah.
do every week. I've been able to figure out how to do it. So I've been sharing with people, and they said, wow, that's really clever. So I time travel every Wednesday. And today I will do a little bit of time travel, not very far, only a few hours into San Francisco when I do the radio show, right? So I'll be traveling back in time
Mhm.
from New Jersey here, but then on Wednesdays I time travel forward 12 hours to Hong Kong,
Mm.
right? So while you talk about time travel, most people think of doing it for years or something like that. No, I'm just thinking of just cute little things and looking at life in a different perspective. And when I put that into the song, it's like, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. Yeah, I can get it more into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, I got into it more as I spoke about time travel, and then I
Hmm.
was able to imprint it deeper. Um, and there's this little phrase, that that I have here is I will have a perfect song in a perfect way. I give perfect service for perfect pay. So that way, if you're, it's like a little way of imprinting and say, okay, all right, I'm going to, it's as if I'm performing to my cells, right, to my body, and they're all going to be clapping, right? And I want that to affect that healing. And when you get everyone, like you said, into that singing mode, if all the cells could respond that way, that would be a game changer. Because so many times as we live, right, but we're not living, right? We're just alive, but we're not focused on what we're doing. So we're deteriorating, we're being depleted. There's a ingredient called xanthan gum that people add into a lot of things, and they didn't know it comes from bacteria, but they didn't know that it actually changes your own digestion. And this was a recent study that came out that showed that we get affected by it.
How do you get affected by it?
It it changes the composition in your digestive system in a possibly negative way. Right? There's not enough research about it yet, and oftentimes as a researcher, what happens is you do the bidding of who's funding you, right? So oh, I really want to ask more questions, but time's up and you got to move on, right? So that's just a snapshot into what that story is about, in the sense that we put it as an ingredient in many things. Many people eating gluten-free are using that ingredient, making products with it. And the theory was that because this bacteria doesn't exist in our digestive system, we should be fine because it's fermented. It's a fermented byproduct from something that doesn't agree with our digestive system. So we don't digest it. It's like gets passed on until the study was ran that it does now get digested. And now some bacteria are using it, and now it has an unfair advantage. So the entire population of the microbiome changes. And it's because that would change. If you think of songwriting, kind of like when I was talking about time travel, if you use this umbrella thought is, well, that might change what we like as music, or, and did our digestion, did our food sources, did how we eat, how we worked change? So that's one data point for you. And another data point for, it's really interesting, is job security. Most people thought that going to work every day, 9 to 5, was job security until so they've been monitoring this for 10 plus years in this country. And people are finding less job security in traditional work versus what you're doing, freelancing, what I do, coaching and things like that. That is now more secure than the traditional corporate jobs. During COVID, I think the number was 20 plus million jobs were lost. During the Great Recession, all these jobs were lost. So it's not just security though, because if it was secure, guaranteed income, then why would so many people start having some issues with it? And why is it growing? Well, there's also an additional movement called "You Only Live Once." Makes sense. We do only live once, right? So, right, and it's a movement. So the people just don't want to do that anymore, and there's a mass exodus of workers now. Like just like the Great Recession, there's the Great Retirement, the Great Exit, the Great Rejection, and it's a problem. So what happens, right? But it's all in the answers in the music, right? Is that if time is so important, why don't we make the most of every moment, right? Yeah. And love, like you just don't have that that issue, understanding it, right? Love is so important. Like we would just do anything to find the right person, right?
Mhm.
And what happens when you have the wrong person, the wrong spouse, but also the wrong coach,
Mhm.
the wrong songs, right? For the wrong healing approach, right?
Mhm.
So let's say you have a liver problem and they treat your foot. Well, does it make it better, or is it actually wasting your time? Because now you're racing against time. So here's that "Nothing's Going to Change My Love for You" song,
Okay.
and I'll try to get into this. Is I try to pretend for the love songs that I want to create a library for my daughters and my wife, so that this is another imagery, so that they could one day listen back to them, right? If I'm no longer here. And I could be wrong, and I could be here, right? But if I'm not, that they would have this library. So that's the feeling I'm going to bring in thinking of this song. And it'll go like this. If I had to live my life without you near me, my days would all be empty. My nights would seem so long. With you I see forever, oh so clearly. I might have been in love before, but it never felt this strong. Our dreams are young, and we both know they'll take us where we want to go. Hold me now, touch me now. I don't want to live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. One thing you can be sure of, I'll never ask for more than your love. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. The world may change my whole life through, but nothing's gonna change my love for you. If the road ahead is not so easy, our love will lead the way for us like a guiding star. I'll be there for you if you should need me. You don't have to change a thing. I love you just the way you are. So come with me and share the view. I'll help you see forever too. Hold me now, touch me now. I don't want to live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. One thing you can be sure of, I'll never ask for more than your love. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. The world may change my whole life through, but nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Wow, that was really nice. That
Yeah.
was really
did
nice.
I
Yeah.
did I did I was it
Mhm.
was it was the speaking and the emotion. I thought I led up to it as I was thinking about it, right?
Well, it's so funny
Yeah.
because I felt you were talking to me when you were singing that song.
Oh,
And you
okay.
know what's
All
really it's
right.
really
Yeah.
just
Uh,
because the words
mm,
and there's something about singing that the breath you
yeah.
have to breathe and it comes up and out and it's a deeper than just speaking in certain ways.
Mm,
Um, and also the lyric of nothing's going to change, the world will change, and
right.
everything about the world can change, but love doesn't.
Right.
Love
Right.
is in the moment all the time, and no matter what happens in life, true love is always constant. Things
Mm,
change in life because every moment is different in life. Every
yes.
second that we breathe, it's different. Every
Mm,
thought, it's changing at every millisecond. But the love of your child, the love of people, the love of your siblings or your parents, it's never changing. And, you know, if you're a believer in God or whoever you believe in,
Mhm.
that is never changing either.
Right.
It's
So
very powerful.
change is constant, but love is also constant, which is really interesting, right?
Right.
And
Yes, that is
yeah, yeah, right. They're both constants. And I just wanted to,
love,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
love, it's constant, but it never changes. But everything
Right.
else changes. It's really
Yeah, right. Everything changes, right? It's like the flip of
right.
all of that, right?
Yeah.
And when you do have a moment, how do you seize that moment? You know, a song can completely change the mood of everything. And that's why it's so important that I look at what songs agree um, with where I want to go, like my purpose, right? And which is the healing of the selves, to leave a moment behind, and then you know, you talk to a lot of healers who know a lot of stuff, and you ask them the secret question, which is, do you do all of this yourself?
Mhm.
And their secret answer, non-public, is that no, they don't, because they have a whole book of how to fix the problem when they don't follow it, right? Dentist doesn't brush their teeth more than twice a day, even though they know, right, the acids in our food. And that's the mystery, is songs don't let you waver. You have to truly mean it. And I just said, all right, what do I do best? I don't sing best, but I can speak best. So I've been speaking for many years. So what if I put speaking and meaning more in the forefront, and then the melody just follows, and I have you and others support me? What would happen, right? And then that's what I'm discovering, is that I could bring the meaning out if
Yeah.
I understand that. That's what I think um, is unique, is that these songs, people have sang it for ages. Um, but what does it mean to me? And can I get my soul and how I'm feeling it to your soul? Right. And just like the xanthan gum thing, is that since we all eat different amounts of food and different types of food every day, then the data sets should show that different people will react to the glycemic index of different things.
Mhm.
And that study was done in 2015 in Israel. It was proven that someone who has an apple will spike their glycemic index, while another person will not have it. And you say, wow, how is that even possible? Our DNAs are so similar, and yet the responses are so dissimilar. And that's because of our diets, and that's because of what's changing. And what we thought of as constant wasn't. And you mentioned about love being constant, and for some relationships it isn't, right? Hearts get broken and things like that. I try to avoid those songs, right? Because I don't want that type of energy. But it exists. There's probably more of that, right?
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna now use go to the ice castles theme, right? I'm
Yes.
going to skip Josh Groban's You Raise Me Up until the last, right? So, but
Mhm.
Through the Eyes of Love is like a continuation of the we'll meet again and nothing's going to change my love for you. So, same thoughts, but maybe more whispery. I don't know. I'll just try to express it. Please don't let this feeling end. It's everything I am, everything I want to be. I can see what's mine now, finding out what's true. Since I found you, looking through the eyes of love. Now I can take the time, I can see my life as it comes up shining now, reaching out to touch you. I can feel so much since I found you, looking through the eyes of love. And now I do believe that even in a storm we'll find some light. Knowing you're beside me, I'm all right. Please don't let this feeling end. It might not come again. And I want to remember how it feels to touch you, how I feel so much since I found you, looking through the eyes of love.
Don't you wish we could all feel that way all the time?
Yeah, right. And sometimes if I don't work myself up to think the thoughts that I shared, I won't sing the song the same way. I'll just sing the song as opposed to, right, here I am, like I'm sweating and I'm emotional, right? And it's very powerful when that happens. It's almost like a runner's high kind of thing,
Yeah.
but not exactly. Very different. Very different. I think it's like when you touch your own soul, that works.
Well,
So
also, and it's
yeah,
interesting when you hear a song like that of all the
right.
people that that it brings to mind
Yeah,
in
yeah.
in all of the words and that you're talking about, and about, through the eyes of love. You just think of all the people that you're loving. It just brings them to for the forefront.
I did. In fact, I was thinking like something like 1980s when I was still in middle school and yeah, because I think I heard that song back then.
Well, listen,
And then I heard it, and then I heard it again somewhere, and then I noticed as I was singing it that it had the word time, only because I brought up time and the we'll meet again, and then and then this timeless piece, and they use the word time in there, and that's very powerful. Now we transition into this very different and it's almost like this theme that I have when I'm singing these songs, from "We'll Meet Again" to all those other ones, is I'm not thinking of me, I'm thinking of you, and I want to be able to leave this message for my family, right? So I'm thinking of them. How's this? I don't want to impress you. I want to impress upon you, right? So adding a word upon,
that's wonderful.
right,
Yeah.
changes the entire message, right? I'm not singing this to improve my resume. I'm singing this to improve my obituary, right? Like when I'm gone, please remember this recording, and that is sometimes we don't put time aside. There's some people who put all the dates and everything, and even like on the stone, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just not their name. And then there's other people who do nothing and then poof, they're gone and they leave someone else to deal with all that, right? So there's right two different, very different extremes. I probably should have reversed it because I was talking about that. So I'm now going to sing as if I'm speaking to God, right? And I'll go like this. When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. So I don't know if that worked. Does it work? It's different.
it
It's just
worked. I,
okay. It worked. Okay.
I'm fe-
All right. All right.
my spirit's settling.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Um,
listening. It's great.
yeah. Yeah. I didn't want like let me put it this way: is I did listen to a lot of people sing this song,
Hmm.
and I didn't like the belting part.
Hmm.
I could, but that's just not me, right? Um, it's like even when you say you raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You, God, raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. So I'm thinking more like that. And I
Hmm.
don't know if that works, but that's just me, right? So yeah.
I like it because when people would hear that and understand that you don't have to be Josh Groban to hear
Yeah.
and feel a song
Mm,
and sing a song. So
right.
I think that was very powerful because
Okay.
most people are not Josh Groban or any
Right.
great singers,
Yeah.
but just to be able to sing a song in your pedestrian way,
Mm.
and it's still extremely powerful.
Yeah, that's the key for me is that if I'm going to sing something, I don't want to be um mimicking the performer, right?
Right.
I want to be able to leave my message. And if I'm leaving the performer's version of it, then there's plenty of CDs and downloads out there
Right.
and Spotify. Um, but I shall not lie to myself on my last days,
Mm.
right? Not in my obituary, absolutely not. So that's where I have these standards, right? And I say, well, does it work? Is it terrible, right? What does Diane think, right? And I'm relieved to hear because Josh Groban standard, right? And then
Right.
you've got my version, right? But
Well,
which I'm glad that you find it acceptable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
I find it very acceptable. I think that
Okay.
um, you were connecting with the song
Yeah.
through yourself,
Right.
your
Yeah.
authentic self.
Yes.
That's the closest we can be
Right.
and where we
Right.
should be into our
Yeah.
and especially singing a song like this. It's not about, I mean, singers are great and professional singers. I mean, Josh Groban's a wonderful singer, but
Mm.
there's something also to be said about somebody who is just singing from their own heart.
Mm.
You can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know
So
what I mean?
that's great. Yeah. So because maybe someday I'll learn some techniques of where you hollow your voice and it
Right.
sounds very much like,
Mhm.
you know, uh, yeah. But first I need to know how to deal with the song and I did find that if I belt
Mhm.
or if I sing it more in the standard way, I might lose some of the emotion
Right.
behind the song or the purpose behind the song. If I
Mhm.
lose my purpose, then that's like job security, right? Once, once you,
Yeah.
if losing your purpose got you job security, sure, I could understand why people would do that. But if you go the traditional route and there's no job security, well then, well, no, get me out of here, right?
Right.
Right. And how many people find that they go through life and then they're working with or they're in a spot where they wish they could only change, right, before time's up. And they suddenly realize, wow, they've been in the wrong place, wrong, the grass looks green, right? That's because it's watered and sprayed, right? But it's all fake, right? And there's a quote that says, fake it until you make it. But once you make it and you find out it's fake,
oh my gosh.
well, now, right? That's terrible, right? So, yeah, right. So that's why this whole transition, right, into On Eagle's Wings, again, speaking to God, but this time very much in a worshiping way. You who dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in his shadow for life, say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you up on breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. Yeah. Are you Catholic? Do you?
I was brought up Catholic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was too, and that's when I heard the song. I heard the song when I was probably like 5,
Yeah.
and it stuck with me.
It's a beautiful
You know,
song. Yeah.
yeah, right. It's just they didn't. Then I went Christian, right, and then I didn't hear this song
Me
again.
too.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
Yeah.
Christian. I mean, Catholic, Christian, it's a little, I don't know why would I say Catholic to Christian, but there is a little bit of a difference.
Right. There is a difference,
Yeah.
right? And I noticed in the songs they choose, right?
Yeah.
It's different. It's Catholic is probably more structured. Versus in Christian, I've heard more pop and rock too, in the worship. Yeah.
What I was gonna say yesterday,
Yeah.
before you went in it was when you had sung "You Raise Me Up."
Yeah.
Go back in time.
Right. Yes.
It's for many years, I mean, what we do with our children, versus a big singer that sings these big anthems versus
Mm.
just holding a baby and
Mm.
singing to them. That is one
Yeah.
of the most powerful things you can do. Or if somebody's before they're dying. I used to,
Yeah.
when I was younger, many years
Mm.
ago, I would go to hospices, and
Mm.
I would sing for them. I would
Mm.
I would hold people's hands and just sing a beautiful, just like you're doing. And it was so powerful for them.
Mm.
And then maybe sometimes I would pray with them as well. But
Mm.
I was just getting back to the fact that, simpler and singing from your complete heart is,
Mm.
is just, people don't realize how powerful that is and how healing it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that is that's a special place, right? When we talk about time, we
Mm-hmm.
also think about space, and time and space is place. So when you're able to get yourself into that place, not for thyself, but for others, for you, right? Then beyond the performance, it's more into soul touching soul.
Yes.
And I think a lot about that when I practice some of these songs is if I'm leaving this for my obituary, then I want to be able to, for the person listening, to feel that I was there. And that's the difference between and I wanted to show you this. This is my first camera, and this is what it looks like. This doesn't adjust because it's higher up, but and the table moves. But you see how when I speak to you, even though if I'm looking at the camera, it's not as engaging, right? And then if I change it to the 780p, 720p to 1080p, here we are. And it has a big room, it has more scope. It even sees this camera here, right? But I'm removed, right? I'm removed. And then when we switch to this one, now this one, it doesn't autofocus, but I'm warm, right? I'm right there, right? And I could be looking down here as opposed to looking here, but I'm still the lights, I'm still warm, I'm still engaging. And that's the same difference with the mic, right? With the USB mic, somehow I'm not really there. And so if you look at those examples, I guess singing techniques, if the technique causes you to lose the message and the purpose, and hopefully one day, maybe, as we work on something, I add to more techniques without losing, right? But now that you know so much about what my purpose is, then we could maybe tweak some things. One of the examples was you mentioned pushing a little bit at the end of each phrase, and
Each phrase, right?
I've been doing that. Sometimes when I forget, then it looks like I cut it off, but when I do it, it holds the note further, and it's worked many times. I shared it with my wife, and she reminds me too. so it's good. Yeah, she reminds me. Oh yeah, it's not you cut it off. I wanted to finish and listen to more of it, right? Yeah. Now the other one I wanted to do with you was this one, As the Deer. And this is a very Christian song. Have you heard of it?
I listened to it. No, but I haven't heard of it before.
Hmm.
But I did listen to it.
90s the kind of song, late 90s, maybe earlier, but I heard it in the late 90s, and it talks about a deer panteth, so really like thirsty for the water. So it goes like this. As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. So it's kind of like that. And then I really want to get into that next verse. You're my friend, and you are my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. Did that come across differently?
Yes, it did. It did.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you started out with worshiping God, and then you ended up, loving your brother,
Yeah.
which I think we've been told to do.
Right. Right.
And
Which is like,
what are the
why are we told to
laws
do
or
that?
the,
Yeah. Why are we told to do that? It's like, if you don't love your brother, then you're creating this negative energy,
hmm
and then they go out there and they got to get rid of it. So then they put it on someone else, and it just keeps on going around, right? And then you become a negative energy generator, which means you're also an attractor of negative energy.
hmm
So it makes sense, right? But God, who is one true God,
hmm
what happens is, if you don't believe, then this song doesn't work for you,
Right. Yeah.
right? So it's like, what did this just say, right? um so
That
so
is that
yeah,
is true. That is true.
right, so it's not going to work for you.
Uh,
And it's really bizarre when a song doesn't work for you, because imagine if you're if you're you've been hurt, and then you try to sing a love song, right?
mhm.
um doesn't really work. You have to maybe have to sing a hurt song, right? As opposed to,
Yeah,
right?
where you
Yeah.
come from,
Yeah.
looking for
To
where
let go, right? To at least
it's resting.
sponge it up, right? And then having the ability to grieve over that until you can find that
hmm
point in time of love again. And that's what makes "Nothing's Going to Change My Love for You" so powerful, because it says in there that, "With you I see forever, oh so clearly. I might have been in love before, but it never felt this strong." Right? So now that I'm like really into the lyrics, I will I will just remember that it says that,
hmm
and then go back to it and say, see, that's a song that you save, right? You save so that when you finally reach that perfect person, right? And there was this thing I wrote, I have a perfect, let's say I have a perfect voice or a perfect song in a perfect way. I give perfect service for perfect pay. So that, and by the way, that's a very old, um, almost like mantra that existed back in 1935, around that time period. And when I found it, I said, this is like, it's like a rhymey kind of spell casting, prayer like, right?
Yeah.
And yet it's really powerful, because you don't want to have imperfect pay. Like, who wants to be paid less than their worth, right?
hmm
But if you're giving imperfect service, then yeah, should you have imperfect service and expect perfect pay, right? So even that mantra says to be a good person is to do good and to be good. And then things may not be great, right? But it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good enough,
hmm
right? Good enough to impress upon yourself a life of harmony, as opposed to um, changing things your way, right? Only your way. And that's, we go back to the bacteria, right? Now we're finding out, for so long there was the eureka moment. Oh wow, xanthan gum will solve all the problems. People are have gluten issues. But if it changes the the pecking order, let's put it that way, of the bacteria, the pecking order, you can't change the pecking order. You change the pecking order, and then suddenly things will be different. And once that discovery was made, it's been put into so many snacks, so many foods. Yeah.
Mm,
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. How many people come to you to find help on how to extract meaning from a song versus how to sing a song?
I think most of my students, or all of them, want to express the meaning.
Oh, good, good. Yeah. You're a very meaningful person. I've noticed that and maybe that's because how you set up your life, right? Um, because I'm
I try
sure,
talking
right?
truths and
Yeah. I
and
mean, when I first met you, um, it was like you were very cool in the sense that, yeah, you weren't very, yeah, it was like she's fairly removed. But then as I looked at what you do and I spoke to you, I felt that you do that probably to protect your space. You want the right match,
Mhm.
as opposed to, like, you rather the universe send you the student as opposed to advertising. Let's put it this way. Here I am. Right.
Yeah,
Come to
I
me.
kind of not
Yeah.
that way. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're not
I
that way.
just
No, you're not that way. Yeah.
no, things do. I've noticed in my life that when I push out, it doesn't
Mm,
work as well as if I just allow.
yes.
Allow.
And that mantra that I was reading to you, it talks about that, is that people have said those things, but not when it wasn't meant to be, right?
Hmm.
And then they paid the price when it wasn't meant to be. And that is how much isn't meant to be that's out there right now. It's prevalent. It's very common, right?
Well, I
Yeah.
think people take their own world's morality and ethics and
Mm,
integrity into their own hands instead of a higher purpose, in my opinion.
yeah.
With the
Right.
world today.
Right. That first they lost the higher purpose, many, and
Yes.
then some even lose the purpose,
Hmm.
their own purpose. So not only, you lose a higher purpose, you don't have a purpose anymore. So then you go through life just doing,
Right.
right? Yeah. I
Doing what
look at the midlife crisis as a good thing. Like,
what
yeah,
crisis?
as a good thing, because midlife crisis allows you to um suddenly, let's say you hit 50, and amongst youth, that's an old age.
Mhm.
But amongst the 100-year-olds and the 70 and 80-year-olds, you're just a baby.
Right.
Right. So, right. So,
Yeah.
so it's like you're a new inductee into the retiree group, right? Or the look at life with wisdom group,
Hmm.
right? And yeah, there's so much more to learn. The journey has just begun. But if you look at it as it just ended, yeah. Well, I oftentimes tell people 1 through 20, you don't really know anything,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah, I
when
agree.
you first start to know something, you've got about 30 years to make it work. And then the rest of it is looking back and understanding it. And that's that last song, right? I wanted to sing a phrase of this. It's this particular song that's Be Not Afraid. Have you heard of that song?
I have heard that song. Yes.
Yeah, in churches, and
Yes.
it's like really powerful because it says, "Be not afraid, I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest." Wow. So you are finally able to be not afraid. I go before you always. So you have to believe that God is going before you. It's always
Hmm.
before you, one step. And when you see only one set of footprints in the sand, right? That's God carrying you.
Hmm.
So be not afraid. God goes before me always. Come, follow God, and God will give you rest. And that's what I'm putting in there when I say, come, follow me, and I will give you rest. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's I guess that's all that needs to be said in certain ways, right?
Oh, it's a good ending. I put it like I sent you in text messages. They weren't sorted the same way, but then I had this epiphany, right?
Yeah.
Moments before, like, that we were doing this. I said, oh, you know what? If I ordered this way, it could be someone like a ending of our recording
Hmm.
and our story, right? Yeah. Because so often we're afraid, and that's why we do some things a certain way,
Hmm.
right? We insist but what if we didn't have to be afraid anymore, right? What if we could, like, why are you doing this? And I shared, I'm doing this because I'm the weakest link as a singer in the family. Apparently my kids are better than me just as born, right? They're born better than me. That's even better, right? And then, right?
These are free.
Yeah, right. Because they have a free mind,
Yes.
right? And I don't know if you've seen this before, but I'll sing these songs and they'll pick up on it. And then
Oh,
throughout the day, they're like
yeah.
working it while I'm doing other things. And they've practiced, they've run around the track 100 times before I get back to it. 100 times is being very conservative. It's probably like 500 times. And there I am, right? So last night's song, Nothing's Going to Change My Love for You or We'll Meet Again, they've already got it down. Like by today, oh yeah, I'm
Sponges.
blown. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-year-old and 7-year-old is that they can, and then they learn the English words. It's
Mhm.
great for their vocabulary, but
Yeah.
also deeply healing for their emotions.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank
Very
you, Diane. Thank you.
good.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop our recording now. All right. And then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
All right. Let me see. Where's my mouse? Okay. Here we are. Ending here. All right. So let me see. Oh, I need to do this to stop the recording. Okay. Here we go. Stop.